How's it going, everyone? My name is Mason. Today we're going to be doing our flight planning and execution project assignment for my advanced GPS navigation class. So for this project, we're going to be talking about the G1000 system, which is an awesome system that has so many different features, and unfortunately I won't be able to talk about everything, but today we're going to be talking about just a quick overview, and then we're going to go into the different types of features. And then after we wrap up all of that, we're going to be doing a flight, which is going to be from Bozeman, which is my hometown, to Idaho Falls. And to go along with that flight, we're going to be going along each segment of the flight. We're going to be talking about the departure and approach, how we use that in the G1000 and how it helps a lot. We're going to be talking about just different things along the way, just talking about the system, how it can be super helpful in situational awareness, and improvement in decision making and all of that kind of good stuff. So just the flight is going to be a good comprehensive guide to what it's actually like to be flying in it. Unfortunately, I don't have access to a G1000 system to fly, but I do have a flight sim, and I have flight sim pulled up, so we'll be doing that on flight sim. Okay, so now we're going to dive into our first phase of exploration, which is going to be familiarizing ourselves with the functionality and features of the navigation system, so just kind of a broad overview. So with that being said, for this first part, I'm going to have pictures, and I'm going to be showing you stuff on my iPad as well, going over this. And it's going to be kind of hard to follow just because once I start actually talking in the system, it's going to make a lot more sense. For this first part, it's just going to be pictures and then me just talking about it. So the G1000 really follows a very user-friendly waypoint entry system, but understanding the correct sequence for entering the waypoints to align the flight plan is very crucial. If you happen to move a waypoint off to a different spot, or if you move it just one place in a flight plan, it completely destroy your flight plan and take you off course, which can lead to a deviation, which is definitely something that you don't want. Some of the unique aspects of the G1000 system is that it incorporates a predictive waypoint technology, so it anticipates the next point on the flight path, so it keeps you on track. And this unique aspect really increases the efficiency and reduces pilot workload. They don't have to worry about, adjusting to the next Victor airway that they're flying on or anything like that. So one of the standout features that really separates the G1000 from the rest of the competition is its robust flight plan management system. The system simplifies the planning process, allowing users to create and modify flight plans very easily. And of course, we have to talk about the moving map display, which is also one of the things that G1000 just has that a lot of other systems do not have. The moving map display provides a dynamic visual representation of the aircraft's position, and waypoints for the entire route. It can show topography. You can change all sorts of things on that. We'll show that in the sim as well. The only thing is it has a couple limitations. I'll just go over one real quick. The moving map display relies on the availability of data. So in areas with poor data connectivity, there might be some limitations to real map updates. Of course, your PFD, which is the main one that has all your six-pack and all of that kind of information, is always going to work. It's just that MFD and having a big map with you moving on it, centering you as you go along, that might cut out with poor data connectivity. So just keep that in mind when you are flying with this system. Okay, so now that we've given an overview and talked a little bit about the system and what it can do for you, some limitations and all of that good stuff, now we're going to actually hop into the simulator. So real quick, I'm going to give you a brief breakdown of what our flight plan is going to be. It's going to start here in my hometown of Bozeman, Montana. We're going to be flying to Idaho Falls. So we're going to be departing from Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport and then going to Idaho Falls Airport. And this flight will be on an IFR flight plan, and the reason for doing this is we'll be able to use more features of the G1000, and also I'm working on my instrument rating currently, so it'll be nice for me as well. Alright, so now that we've determined where we're flying from and where we're flying to, the next thing I looked at was our departure and approach procedures, which is going to be really important because this is what we're going to be using the G1000 mostly for. So we're going to be tracking VORs, getting on certain radials. We're going to be using GPS functionalities as well on the Victor Airways, and then we're going to be doing the ILS approach. So we'll be able to use localizer functionalities, and we're going to be looking at the moving map display and all of that stuff. So regularly from my home airport, the main departure procedure that all civil aircraft use is the Bozeman 6 departure, pretty much going in any direction. So that's the one that I filed for the departure. And then for the arrival, we're using the ILS to runway 21 approach in Idaho Falls, which is their main approach as well. And it comes straight off the Du Bois VOR, which is where we are flying from, or coming in from. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at my flight plan here. I have it plugged in. We're basically doing Bozeman 6 departure, out to the Du Bois VOR, and then to Idaho. So here is our route of flight. We're on the low IFR chart. So we're going to start here in Bozeman. We're going to head out there. So this is our Bozeman 6 departure. We're going to be starting here in Bozeman. We're going to take off and turn to a 255 degree and intercept the 223 radial coming off the Bozeman VOR to the Bridger intersection. At that point, we're going to be making a turn back to the Bozeman VOR. Most likely, we're going to be doing direct before that. Once we get up to altitude, they're going to clear us direct to Du Bois. Okay, so now as we look at our chart here, we can see that our highest MEA is at 15,000 feet, which is very high. We're definitely not going to be flying this in a Cessna today. I'm not sure what type of airplane we'll be flying yet, but it's got to be something that's either pressurized or has oxygen equipped, and then it can handle getting up to that altitude. Okay, so we're going to be flying on Victor 343 to the Du Bois VOR. We're going to be tracking it inbound. Once we get to one of these intersections, we're mostly going to be using GPS for this route. And then coming off the Du Bois VOR, as soon as we hit the VOR, we're actually going to be doing our approach into Idaho, because that is where it starts. And then this is the ILS to Idaho Falls runway 21. As you can see, it starts at Du Bois up here, which is going to be our initial approach fix that we're going to ask for. No procedure turn, and we're just going to fly the 136 radial off the Du Bois VOR until we intercept the ILS to fly it down to the airport. Go through a quick weather briefing. After we've done that, we will type in all of our information, follow a flight plan, and then now we're going to hop into the simulator. So I have runway 12 plugged in for Bozeman, doing the Bozeman 6 departure. And then to Idaho Falls, I have our approach in there as well. I changed the weather conditions today just so it makes it a little bit easier, and we're going to hop in. Okay, so here we are with the G1000 system in a Cessna 172. As you can take a quick look around here, we have the two PFD and the MFD. You can see our MFD is already set up with our flight plan in there, but that one is on GPS, so we're actually going to set up the VOR and follow the VOR to the radial. So the first thing that I'm going to do is change the nav. So we're going to be changing the tuner from the outside one to 112.4. Okay, and then now we're going to swap it to the active nav. We're now on the VOR. So we're going to set up our CDI. So we're going to change our heading here to 255 initially. And then we're going to change our VOR and move it to 233, which is the one that we're going to intercept off of that heading. All right, so now we're set up for the departure. We're going to set our altitude in here, 16,000 initially, which is our highest MEA. So we're just going to climb to 16,000. All right, so now that we've gone over that, we're going to start this departure, and off we go. All right, so we are climbing out. We are on the 255 heading, and we are intercepting the 223 radial. Once we intercept it, we're going to fly it to the Bridger intersection. As you can see here, as we're looking around the G1000, we have our map up here, which is showing us our intercept. I'm a little bit off course here, just a little bit of a wind and a little bit of drift. But otherwise, this is giving me a good GPS description, and then up here I have the VOR, so I'm tracking both at the same time, which is a great feature of the G1000. Okay, so we're just now finishing our climb up to 16,000. We're past the Bridger intersection, and I just changed to GPS. And as you can see on the right of the screen here, we have our GPS being tracked on our maps, and it's very nice to just have everything in one nice compact place. Be able to see where I am on the GPS. I even have the flight director on, which is a very important and good feature. So we just passed the Du Bois VOR and we got cleared for the ILS 221. I'm going to put that on the screen here, but we've been cleared to descend to 6,700 feet. And real quick, I forgot to show it, but not only is the localizer here, but the glide slope's up here, and it gives you a trend indicator, which is awesome. I didn't even know that it had that, and I just figured it out. So we're going to fly this in here. And then I'll show you when we land. So I didn't realize that it would also have this in there. But right now I'm following the localizer right here, which we are right about on, and the glide slope, trying not to look outside. and we're matching up pretty good, just trying to ignore the red there. Okay, so I hope you guys liked the flying aspect. So now we're going to talk about, basically reflect on what I've learned, what I went over. It really is just something that enhances situational awareness and decision making so much. Being able to look at everything at once, being able to track everything in a quick eye movement rather than having to look at each individual dial and looking over at a map. Yeah, I hope this explained a good amount about the functionality of the PFD and the MFD. And just how it works in the navigation system, the flight management system, how it all goes together into an actual flight. I haven't actually done a G1000 flight. That was actually my first one, so it was very helpful and I learned a lot. Reading up on the G1000 also helped a lot. I hadn't had much experience in that until I started this class about a week ago. So yeah, thank you so much.